From their self-titled debut release, that is Blue Murder with Black-Hearted Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we all can relate.
Yeah, some of more than others.
You know what? Just since we've been doing this show, especially recently,
Yeah.
I every time I watch a movie these days,
Mm-hmm.
and there's always some drama in some relationship
Mm-hmm.
in the movie,
Right.
I find myself talking out loud to myself.
Oh, yeah, I do it too.
And it's just like, you fucking cunt. and it's just like, I'm always just like talking to myself. Like I watched that, what's the movie I'm looking for?
I don't know. The demoniac thing?
No, and that's one thing I want to bring up anyway, since you brought that up. But, no, the Wall Street movie.
Oh, yeah.
So in the second Wall Street movie, Money Never Sleeps.
Uh-huh.
The guy, have you seen the movie?
Wall Street? Yeah.
No, the second one.
What? No. I didn't even know there was a second one.
Yeah, it came out in 2010. It's called Money
The
Never.
Wolf of Wall Street?
It's just Wall Street. Money Never Sleeps. It's a second. It's a second edition to the movie.
I have not seen that. No.
All right. Well, anyway, Gordon Gekko. You know him, right? He's he's Michael Douglas.
Mm-hmm.
He went away to prison. And when he was away from prison because of his insider trading and all that bullshit,
Mm-hmm.
his wife left him, and he had 2 children. And during the time he was in prison, his son committed suicide.
Right.
And
okay.
then his daughter, as she grew and stuff, she didn't want anything to do with her dad anymore.
Okay.
So he gets out of prison. He gets himself reestablished. He wants to, try to rekindle some relationship with his daughter.
Right.
And every time he tries to make this attempt, and she's involved with a guy at this point, and the guy knows who her father is too, because he's in the Wall Street game as well.
Right.
So he tries to become the liaison between his chick, his girlfriend, and her father.
Okay.
But of course, she always has to do the, turning away, walking out, attitude.
Mm-hmm.
Her dad wrote a book about, his life in the business, and he was being interviewed on Fox Business.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it off. And he goes, wait a minute, I just want to see what he's got to say. So she grabs the remote from his hand and she flips the TV off. Then she has to throw the remote across the room.
Right.
It's like, what the fuck is wrong with you?
Yeah.
Everything is emotion.
I know. It's awful. That's why not being in a relationship, always better.
There's never any rational thought behind that, ever.
I know I say it all the time, dude. The best relationship, the best ones, compromise way more than me and you do on a bad day. And the only time me and you would ever compromise on anything is illness, I think.
Yeah, but that's the whole thing. It's just like, so did that make you feel better to sit there and flip the TV off and then throw the remote across the room?
Yeah, it's just a quest for attention.
It's just like, get out of my house.
Yeah, just go away.
Yeah, I don't need this drama.
Yeah, let somebody else spend their money for your pussy. I'm done with it. And that's really what it's about.
So I sit there and I'm watching these movies that I may have seen before, but now I'm looking at it through different glasses, per se.
Sure.
It's just like, well, it never struck me before, but you're a cunt.
Well, that's the theme in every movie, isn't it? Every movie is the guy is like cool, but he's beaten down by this cunt girl.
Yeah.
And then the magic of the story is but they somehow work it out at the end. Bullshit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
Well,
what they don't show you is 3 years down the road when they're sitting in a divorce court and he's living in a fucking 300 square foot apartment because she took 80% of his money.
Well, that's the other thing. Even in the first Wall Street movie, Charlie Sheen gets involved with that Daryl Hannah.
Mm-hmm.
And then when things are not going well for him, he decides he needs to stand up for some of his own principles.
Right.
She's like, fuck that. I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. See ya.
Yeah. Toodaloo, buckaroo. I'll find another guy who's making millions of dollars a year. You fucking loser.
Yeah. Yep. And that's how it always works.
So I just watch it with a whole different perspective anymore. It's just like, yeah, toodaloo. I don't need you here. Get lost.
Yep, that's it. Dude, speaking of movies and stuff, we should have covered it earlier, but I'm just curious if you saw this. Two of my favorite shows, who, in my opinion, their legacy is going to be ruined. I'm curious what you think. They're going to reboot Good Times and All in the Family.
I'm not for reboots at all. Are they going to have some of the original people, or are they just going to remake the show with the name?
I don't know for sure. They can't have the original people for All in the Family.
Yeah, I mean, they're all dead aside from Fatso Sally Field and liberal douchebag meathead.
Yeah, Rob Reiner.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I did see a picture of all of the remaining cast from Good Times.
Okay.
Together. And that was what I saw the announcement for the Good Times reboot with. But what confused me was James was in the picture.
Yeah, I thought he died.
He died in season 2.
Yeah, he had a heart attack or something, right?
Yeah, when he was trying to get the big job on the dock.
Yeah.
And he had a heart attack and died right when he was supposed to bring home the money. And then James died, and she got the phone call at the end.
Yeah.
She's like, damn.
I think that Florida, she's dead, right?
She's dead. Yeah, Florida's dead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, JJ's got to be 70.
Well, he's banging Ann Coulter, isn't he?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. That's a weird combination. JJ Walker and Ann Coulter.
She likes the old black funny.
Apparently so. I mean, he got himself a white blonde woman.
Good for him. And what kind of hot, really? I mean, other than that fucking giraffe neck she has.
Yeah, I never thought Ann Coulter was attractive ever.
You don't think Ann Coulter's other than her neck?
No, I don't think she's attractive.
She looks like she could wrap her head around a tree like a snake.
Yeah, I just not a fan.
Yeah, I think she's all right. She's okay.
I like that Maria Bartiromo though.
Yeah, that's a different animal there.
I like her, and for an old lady, and I've said this before, I like that Janine Pirro.
Oh, Judge Janine.
Oh yeah. For an old lady, for being her 65 or 66, man, she is still bangable.
Yeah. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, is there any reason to redo those two shows?
No. Well, what's the purpose in that? That's just dumb.
Yeah, I mean, what are you going to do with? Are you going to do the thing with the Good Times where now we're watching their kids grow up, and then they're going to constantly throw back? Well, when we lived in the apartment in Chicago.
Yeah, it makes no sense because times are different now.
Yeah.
And, it was about the struggles of the common working man, or, the plight of the black man, or, the social issues that plagued them at that time in the 70s, and the, Vietnam War, and, all the drugs and the ghettos and all that shit.
Yeah, well, and you know what it'll be now. Michael will have a kid that's a fag on the down low, and Wilona's grandchild will be a transgender or a cisgender, and it'll just be terrible.
Yeah, of course. I don't. Aside from capitalizing on the name again, band versus brand.
Yeah.
That's basically all it is, and it'll go to the wayside, just like what was that horrible Netflix reboot?
One day at a time.
Yeah, one day at a time. It's like, what? Why?
Well, you didn't like Gay Schneider?
I didn't even watch one episode. The only reason I know anything about it is because of the clips you brought to the show.
Well, those were tremendous clips, though,
Oh, my
weren't they?
God. It's just like, why? Are you out of ideas? Is that the deal? Are you guys out of ideas?
Well, that seems to be the method in Hollywood now. They are out of ideas. They can't make a movie that sells unless it's a superhero. That really seems to be what it is. You can't. All the superhero movies sell real well, but none of the regular movies sell worth a shit. None of them. You know, they can't create anything new.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Do you think that, and I continue to think this, I can't believe, and it does seem like it's coming. I did read something recently that one of the major movie studios is finally going to do first run movies at home. I think it's Paramount.
Okay.
I think.
All right.
You can buy a subscription for whatever it is, $20 a month or something, and you can get all of the Paramount first run movies at home.
All right.
It's time for that, don't you think?
Well, I understand. I read a couple of financial articles about the state of the movie industry and the state of the theater industry.
Yeah.
And they're pretty much on their ass at this point.
Well, because it's an antiquated idea.
Well, again, technology changes everything.
Mm-hmm. Hey, why do I want to go watch a movie on a shitty screen with a bunch of cunts with their kids and their cell phones and fucking yammering and somebody says something on the screen and somebody yells out, "Girl, you better do that shit." No one wants that. No one wants to see that.
And exactly what was that impression you were just doing?
That was white woman of Polish descent.
Oh, okay.
What are you thinking it was?
I have no idea. I was just trying to figure out who you were trying to mimic there.
That was white Polish women, of course. Maybe I didn't do a good enough impression. I'm sorry.
All right.
But no, why would you go and do that when you could sit at home on your 65-inch TV and watch it and not have any interruptions?
And pause it if you have to take a pee.
Yeah, exactly. Or just flip it from your TV to your phone and take it with you while you go take a piss. Not going to say I don't do that all the time.
I don't do that. I just, I just pause it. I get up. I go to the kitchen, get whatever I got to go, hit the head, whatever. And then I come back. I did that probably half a dozen times today.
Dude, I have all the devices, but more and more I'm using the Chromecast.
Yeah, I use the Chromecast all the time.
But I use it now because I can literally, if I got to get up and take a shit midway through a movie, I just pull the cast. I cast mostly from my iPad.
Yeah.
I pull the cast back to my iPad and then grab the iPad and go with
well,
it.
yeah, that's understandable. I get that. Because when I Chromecast, I do it from my laptop,
Yeah.
But I do that mostly for watching sports.
Sure.
But, I get it. I mean, I have the 55-inch high-def TV in the bedroom.
Mm-hmm.
And if I got to get up and get a beverage or hit the head or, whatever I got to do, I just hit the pause. I go do my thing, come back in, climb back into bed, and then resume.
See, this is how technologically dorky I am. I'll give you an example that was at 8:00 this evening. Actually, I was watching. Normally I come in here and I sing those old 70s songs to get ready for the show. I did not do that this week because there was tonight was the AEW Full Gear pay-per-view.
So you were doing a wrestling thing.
Wrestling pay-per-view. Started at 8:00. So the wrestling pay-per-view was going on at 8:00. So I watched right up until about about 8:45, because I had to come in here and I had to hook up a heater and stuff for this room, before the show started. So I got up, but I pulled the pay-per-view to my phone, watched it on my phone for the 13 seconds it takes me to walk from my room to this room.
Well, you don't want to miss any action.
No, not at all. And then threw it from the phone to the TV in this room so that I didn't miss any of the action. And I watched the pay-per-view right up until the first segment. And then I decided that if I keep doing that, we will have a fucking lousy 2 hours, because I'll be like, what? Something?
Yeah, I'm watching wrestling.
Yeah. Sorry, but the Young Bucks just did a double flip off the top rope. I can't be bothered right now.
Right.
Yeah, no, I somebody just hit in the chat room, never have to press pause. Exactly right. I don't ever press pause. I just flip from device to device.
That's funny.
I am a technological idiot.
Yeah, I could do the same thing, but it's not that important to me.
Oh, dude, everything. I can't waste my time. How could I waste my time? Dude, I'm such an optimizing douche these days. Literally, you know what I did in between the last segment and this segment?
Can't imagine.
I was prepping the first segment of the video.
All right,
so
well, that's understandable, because it is a arduous task and it does take a long time.
It does. But now, because I prepped it, when we're done with the show in, 2 hours or whatever, I literally will push one button to start saving the first segment of the show.
Fair enough.
And by 3:15, I'll have the second computer doing the second one. So by the time I wake up in the morning, I'll have, half the show done.
Well, there you go.
So don't want to waste anything. Don't want to waste a minute.
Well, and again, I don't blame you for that, because, it does take time.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, people don't realize that I spend at least 3 hours on a Sunday to cut the show up into podcast, and you spend 3 or 4 hours on a Sunday or even into Monday, cutting the show up into video.
Dude, I spend so much time on Sunday. You don't even know how much time I spend on Sunday. The video is one thing, because I got to do all the green screening and all that other shit. But whatever, I don't mind that, because it's a skill that I can and do now sell for customers for other money. So I use the CMS to teach myself a skill that'll make me coin.
Right, I get you.
I'm fine with that. But to make the show, the podcast, I have to wait till you do the podcast. Then I have to take those files and I got to plug them into the website, because if I don't plug them into the website, then when they go live, they don't go live on the app. I
gotcha.
So I have to do the podcast. So I'm usually still, now admittedly, I'm doing it with an iPad sitting on the bed watching, Sunday Night Football. But still, I work right up till probably about midnight on Sunday. I start working on CMS stuff about 3 o'clock. Start doing the graphics for the CMS TV and uploading all those videos and writing descriptions. And then, about 7, 8 o'clock my time is when you usually do the podcast on Spreaker. And then I go in behind you on that and copy all that shit over to the website.
I see.
So it's a machine that you and I have running here. It's a machine that both of us are working on, and yet neither one of us has contacted each other at all about what we're doing. That's funny.
Well, the fans get their free shit.
Yeah.
And it's always there, and it's reliable, and it's ready to roll.
It's the commitment. We always talk about it. It's the commitment that you put into doing it. If you're going to do it, do it. It's like, I'll give you a good example of one that I knew wasn't going to go anywhere, but I didn't care, because I still felt like we made a commitment. We did it. We did probably the worst numbers we've ever done as a show since I've been back on the Raining Rock stuff.
Well, of course. I mean, it was not funny. It wasn't, hilarious. It wasn't silly shit. It was, it was more serious stuff.
Right, and it was a lot of bands that, let's just be honest, fans don't know.
Yeah, they don't know them.
Yeah, unless they're from here, they know them. And some of it, I thought some of it was funny. The Randy interview was damn funny. You know,
I listened to that, and I literally was sitting here laughing my fucking ass off.
What is up? My brother's from another mother's.
But it was funny, and speaking of that, and I'll let you get back to your point, but it was funny because every time I asked a question, he would have to preface it with something.
Right.
You know, he had to frame it up first before he would give his answer, and then his answer was like a non-answer.
Yeah, of course.
He had no real committed answer to anything. It wasn't just like a straight up, hey, Randy, what car did you drive here today? Well, when it comes to cars, what are we really talking about? We're talking about a car. We're talking about a vehicle with four wheels. So what did I drive here today? I was transported in a vehicle that got me from point A to point B.
Yeah.
You know, instead of saying, yeah, I drove a Ford Ranger.
No. He could not say that. Yeah, Randy's hysterical, dude.
Yes, it was just funny, but I agree that interview was very, very funny.
Yeah, but a lot of people probably didn't hear it because they looked and they're like, "Who the fuck is Randy Trask?" Pass. You know, and I get it. You know, I mean, a lot of it. You know, a lot of the stuff. Sometimes, you know, most of the time we do stuff that we generally assume the fans will like. Some set of the fans will like. You know, even tonight. I mean, Eric was getting killed in the chat room.
Yeah, well, he was going way, way, way off the rails. I was trying to end the thing, and he just kept going on and on and on. And it's like I'm trying to stop this and just play a song and get out of this, but he just was relentless.
No, but there's some people that love Eric. There are some people that will email us this week that it was the funniest segment in months because they love Eric. And that's fine, and that's good. You know, I mean, it's not for everybody, but by and large, the stuff we generally try to do is to try and appeal to most of the fans.
I agree.
Shows like that one that we did at Raining Rock was kind of the opposite, was kind of us stretching our legs a little bit.
Yeah, it was a very niche show, or should I say niche.
Yeah,
it's a very niche show. It only appealed to a very, very small segment of people.
Yeah, but I think sometimes you and I like to get away from the standard. I know I do. I like to get away from the standard bullshit every once in a while and do something different because I get bored. You know, I get bored. I mean, when there was a run last year, in the middle of last year, where we were like clockwork. It was like, you know, what did we do over the week? Then it was, you know, somebody was calling in, whether it was John Rufo or Tom Niscott or whoever, for, you know, a couple of phone calls. Then the third segment was some sort of music news. Then the fourth segment was the Confederate flag, and the fifth segment was the end drives. I mean, you can look back. It was about a year and a half ago. That was every single show.
Right.
And it got to the point where I was like, you know, let's find something else, anything else, you know, and it wasn't because I thought we were doing bad radio or anything. I mean, we were making it all fun, but it was like, I get bored sometimes. I need to stretch my legs sometimes and do something different. And I personally like to keep my toe in the local water a little bit. You know, I know ultimately we're not even a local show anymore. We're not a Cleveland show anymore. Haven't been in a decade. But people still, you know, we still have friendships and alliances and stuff within the local community. So I thought Raining Rock was a great idea for us.
Well, it was good. It went off without a hitch. Technically, it went off well. The audio was good. The scheduling was great. The accommodations went well. Everything fell in place, and you know, seriously, from a person who kind of engineered the show and made it happen and things. It went very smoothly.
I thought so too, yeah.
Went very smooth. I was very, very pleased with how everything came out.
Me too. Yeah, I thought it went very well, but it did terrible numbers. You know, the Spreaker downloads were just abysmal. You know, they're like 100 downloads for each segment or something.
Yeah, but it wasn't what people were familiar with.
Which is okay. You know, it doesn't always have to be, every segment doesn't have to do 2,000, 3,000 downloads. You know, sometimes it's okay to just do what we want to do. Keeps the show fresh. And to be honest, I thought the show that we did last week, coming out of that show, was the best we've done all year long from start to finish.
Yeah, it was fun.
I thought it was just so solid because we literally, by doing something different, it recharged the battery.
Of course.
Yeah, I mean, I listen back, and I don't usually listen back to anything we do, but I listened back to the Booty Judge 15 times this week.
Well, even our pal Sal, who's, he's biased anyway, but he says, the CMS swag, queers, and blackface. Please, more bits for Chris' southern accent.
Everybody loves my... That's the Booty Judge.
That's the Booty Judge.
That's the Booty Judge.
And just because of you got us banned off of YouTube.
Off of YouTube. So what? Yeah, no, I thought the Booty Judge was extremely funny.
The Booty Judge.
Booty Judge. Yeah, no, I thought from start to finish last week, we just came back firing because we tried something a little different and it worked well, but we did recharge the batteries a little bit.
Yeah, well, sure.
So it's always good.
Yeah, well, we technically were away for 2 solid weeks.
True.
I mean, we did have content during those 2 weeks, but we didn't do a show for 2 weeks.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean, me and you, the CMS TV fans got a show.
Well, again, like I said, we gave them content, but it wasn't, a live show.
Right. No, you're right. Yep, good stuff. But in any event, I was just surprised that it just did, or I wasn't surprised that it did lower numbers, but I think it was worth doing. I very much.
Well, I agree. I mean, I spent, a fairly good amount of money to come over there for 3 days and spend, 3 nights in a hotel and gas and food and, travel and all that other shit. That weekend from, Thursday to Sunday, that probably cost me about $800.
Hey, you must love it. Should have stayed home and just run the board from there.
Between the hotel and food and drinks and travel and all that stuff, yeah, I bet you I spent $800 last week or the week before.
But you had a good time, right?
I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that it cost me to do that,
Yeah, people never realize the sacrifice. Instead, they'll just bitch. Why are you interviewing all these bands no one's heard of? Who the fuck is Parashockers?
Well, speaking of the Raining Rock, did you ever address with Joe Cleon about our photos?
I did. He told me anytime I want to come and get them, we'll get them.
Oh, we have to go get them.
I'll go get them.
You better get my Lemmy, goddammit.
I'll go get it.
If you want to come get it.
Yeah, I'll come and get it.
God damn it. I spent $800 to come over there and do that.
I'm sure he'd mail it.
I know, I'm being funny.
He asked me if I was going to be out his way, and I was like, yeah, I can make time to do that. Why not? I can make some time to do that. I'll bring him a picture of Jackal. It'll make him happy.
Well, since we're talking about local stuff,
yeah,
this is something that you and I can relate to on a personal level.
Okay.
Just because it dominated the news when you and I both were young lads in the Cleveland area. Okay. Well, Netflix released a docuseries called The Devil Next Door. And it was basically about a Ford Motor Company worker who worked at the Ford Motor plant there in Seven Hills, which is, not far from your house.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And he was accused of being a Nazi guard.
Yes.
A death camp guard. And this basically dragged on for 3 decades.
Yep, sure did.
And it was released on Netflix. What is it? Is it four or five?
4 parts.
4 parts, yeah. It's 4 parts. And, I lived in the Akron, Cleveland area for a long time, and this dominated the local news almost on a nightly basis.
Sure did.
For a while.
Mm-hmm.
And, somebody put this together in a very strong documentary about the plight of how this guy got discovered, whether it was actually him or not, the trials and tribulations he went through, the fact that he got deported, he lost his citizenship because he was an immigrant at one point,
right
after the World War II.
Mm-hmm.
And then people, said, he's that guy. And it's like, so I kind of wanted to talk about this because I think you and I both have different viewpoints on this.
We definitely do.
Yeah. So I watched this, and the first thing that jumped out at me, if anybody else has watched this,
mm-hmm.
this guy basically had lived here since the late 40s. And we're talking the early 80s here. So he basically lived here for 40 years.
Right.
And was an auto worker, just working at Ford, never got in trouble, had no arrest records, just kind of lived a peaceful life, just a blue-collar guy life.
Quiet, to himself, they said he never even had a speeding ticket.
Yeah. So he had a family, just living in a suburb of Cleveland, just go to work every day, didn't bother anybody. Then all of a sudden, his profile came up on a Nazi hunter organization.
Right.
And they couldn't even prove it was him at first.
Mm-hmm.
Now, here's the striking thing that I won't say it bothered me, but I just understand that this is human nature,
mm-hmm.
even in today's environment.
Yeah.
So this guy gets identified, supposedly, that he's this Ivan the Terrible, this Nazi concentration guy,
right?
Tortured the Jews, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
No proof of this at all, just an accusation.
Right.
Before you know it, there's groups out there, there's organizations out there picketing, they're out there. Basically, they're a mob.
Right.
Get him out of our neighborhood. He's the devil. Get him out. It's just like, wait a minute. This guy hasn't been this guy's just been accused.
Well, wait a minute. The news told us.
Yeah. And that's the bothersome part about this. It's just like, let me just use me for an example.
Okay.
I look like Dog the Bounty Hunter, so people tell me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So say this Dwayne Chapman guy was some kind of a real dirtbag.
Okay.
And committed crimes, or he did some really shitty things and whatever. Mm-hmm. And somebody goes, hey, that Dog the Bounty Hunter is living right here in our neighborhood. I saw him. He lives at this house. He does? Oh, I hate that guy. Fuck him. Get him out of here.
Right.
Before I know it, I got picketers outside my house. I got people throwing shit at me because they think I'm that guy.
Right, sure.
And it's just like, wait a minute, I'm not that guy. Yes, you are. They said you were. Fuck you. Get out of here.
Right.
That's the way I viewed this guy because, I remember when this news broke, I was like, I think I was like 19 years old, 19 or 20.
Right.
And that was the reaction people were having. These Jewish groups were out there protesting and deport him, get him out of here. Right. And there's been nothing to say, well, wait a minute, is this really the guy? Is he, on trial? No, but they said he was, so fuck that guy. Get him out of our name.
Yeah, but there was that one card. That one card from 1942.
So
had a similar name.
So aside from that was, and I hate to sound all snowflake-ish, but that was the most disturbing part about that whole thing.
Just
for me.
The protesters?
Well, no, it was just that this guy just gets attacked.
Yeah.
Because somebody goes, get him! That's him! It's like, yeah! And we joke about it all the time here on the show. Yeah, pal!
Yeah.
Get him!
And the worst part, and you're not doing it full justice because you didn't explain Seven Hills at all.
Yeah, you go right ahead. That's why I kind of wanted to make this a discussion, but go ahead.
Seven Hills is the most, it's not bougie, but it's like bougie people. It's bougie people that don't make enough money to live in a bougie neighborhood.
Yeah, it's a middle to upper class neighborhood.
It's entry-level lawyers and doctors, not people that own their own practices. That's what it is. It's people got a little bit of coin, but not a lot of coin. So when they're out there protesting, it's really disgusting because it's just a bunch of we think we're better than we are people. It's the kind of people that most of us just want to hit in the face with a bat like Ivan the Terrible did at Auschwitz.
Right. Well, it's no different than that story we did last week about the lady who complained that her neighbors were not giving out Halloween candy that lived up to the standards of what the neighbors should be giving out.
Right. It is. Although these people would be a class down, these people would accept the smarties.
Yeah, of course.
You know, Seven Hills is not the place where you would expect protesters and protesters and people to come out and be aggressive. Would you? I wouldn't.
No, you wouldn't think so. No.
I would think that if somebody's out there protesting, you yelled at them, they'd go running in their house.
Yeah, well, they're not exactly the most bravest of people.
That's what I'm saying. It's like a pussified town.
Yeah.
But in John Demaniuk's case, boy, they came out in droves with their signs. That was some funny shit too. Some old ladies out there with no murders in our neighborhood.
Yeah, it's just like, well, wait a minute. This guy hasn't been to trial. This guy hasn't been brought up on charges. Nothing.
Nothing at all.
Somebody just said he was. So what?
Yeah. And technically, he hadn't done anything wrong in this country.
Not at all.
I mean, I understood that they needed to deport him, I guess, if there were charges against him from another country. But at the time, there were no charges against him.
Right.
It was just they thought he was Ivan the Terrible, so they fucking started protesting his house.
Yeah, exactly. So that just goes back to my point. If Dwayne Chapman was a scumbag and he did something and I looked like him, and it's like, yeah, fuck him. What's he doing in our neighborhood?
That's right.
You know, it's like, dudes, calm down.
Yeah. Go back to your little house, you fucking faggots.
So anyway, you know, he eventually gets deported.
Right.
To, he goes to, what did he go to, Germany or Israel first?
I think Israel first. And then he was, it was Israel and then not guilty and came back, but then had to go back when they dragged him out pretending to be sick. They dragged him out and flew him to Germany or something.
Yeah. So this guy, in his 70s, his whole life is uprooted because somebody said, well, you look like that guy and whatever. But long story short, without dragging this out, if you haven't seen it, you really should watch it. but both Chris and I, are very familiar with it because this basically happened outside of our back door.
Yeah, exactly.
At the time. And so, when it came out, I was just like, oh yeah, that was a lot of big news at that time,
Well, it was huge. I mean, what is that? What is 7 Hills from here? 5 miles?
Yeah, it's right by your house.
Right next to it. It's like 2 towns over.
Yeah, and it was just north of where I lived, and you and I both watch the same local news, and the thing is that they had the local news reporter who basically followed this story. His name was Ted Henry.
Right.
And, he was the familiar face on your local news channel.
Right.
To talk about stuff. And this guy went to Israel and he reported live from there and at the trial, and,
right.
He was the investigative reporter, and, this local television station spent the time and money to cover this thing from beginning to end.
They spent big money on that for local TV. I mean, these days you can't get a weatherman to go outside in the parking lot to do a weather report. And they sent Ted Henry to Israel for like 3 months.
He did. He was there the whole time.
He stayed the whole time and was reporting from Israel. It's like, Jesus, where did that TV station get their money?
Yeah. But anyway, to kind of try to boil this down here to get your thoughts as well as mine, even though he was convicted and then his conviction got overturned, and then he was still incarcerated, and then he passed away in, 2012?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so this all started in, 1982, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So it went on for 3 decades.
Right.
30 years of being prosecuted for allegedly being Ivan the Terrible. And this guy died he died a quote-unquote innocent man because he hadn't been convicted, but he was still incarcerated. And,
Well, no, he was convicted, but he was awaiting appeal.
Right, exactly.
And in whatever it was, German law or whatever, if you die while you're awaiting appeal,
then you're still innocent.
You're still considered innocent. So he died a quote-unquote innocent man.
Yeah. but this guy's last 30 years was just consumed with fighting this, this accusation per se.
Yep.
And with so much evidence for and against his identity, I was kind of left on the fence. It's like, it could have been him, but on the other hand, he might have looked like a guy that kind of looked like the guy. I don't know. So my viewpoint, my viewpoint on this after it was all said and done, and watching this and whatnot, it's just like, I was on the fence. I would say not guilty.
Yeah, I would definitely go the other route. He's totally guilty.
All right.
First of all, I'm never a big fan of when you take some old ass document and try and prove that it's a fake, and that it's the theory that they made about it being fake was even in the documentary was awful in my mind.
Yeah, they more or less said it was a forgery.
As a KGB forgery, trying to make the U.S. look foolish and this and that. And I just watched that, and I was like, why the KGB, and this is speaking as somebody that has done intelligence, they got bigger things to worry about than something this small, than a guy in the middle of nowhere, Ohio, making him look guilty and trying to drum up emotional shit from a war that ended 40 fucking years ago, as of 1982 or whatever. So I had a problem with that whole piece of evidence all by itself. I think it was him. And further, a second piece that I thought kind of said it was, you're in a camp with the main guy, the main dude that is like killing your family and shit, you're gonna fucking look this guy up and down. You're gonna fucking recognize him. And to have so many of these guys really looking at him with fear, not with I want to kill you, but with absolute fear, even when they were in the fucking on the stand, I'm gonna side that they knew what they were afraid of. I'm not saying they all did. The one guy that was all wacky, that couldn't remember what day it was or whatever, that guy maybe not, but the other ones I definitely believe. And then the third part that really made me think it was him was the cocky way when the one guy came up to look him in the eye and he just stuck his hand out like, hey, how you doing, buddy?
Yeah.
That's what a cockstrong fucking you can't prove it's me asshole would do.
Yeah. So you think he was rubbing it in his face?
I absolutely think he was rubbing it in his face to try and make this guy look like a fucking kook.
Yeah.
Which accomplished. When the guy's like, fuck you, get your fucking hand out of my face.
I'm not shaking your hand, murderer.
Yeah, murderer, and just made that guy look like he was hysterical. That's what he was trying to do.
Yeah.
And a guy that spent 40 years rebuilding his life and hiding it away, I could see him just eking out a little bit of that fucking Ivan the Terrible shit right there. Psychological shit.
All right. Well,
I did, even back when the trial was going on, though, I thought it was him. I thought he was guilty.
Yeah. Well, I was on the fence. I just really didn't know what to make of it. Mm-hmm. I know, former Congressman Jim Trafficant.
Yeah.
He was in his corner saying, you got the wrong guy.
Right.
But that doesn't mean anything. I'm just saying that he had Jim Trafficant's backing saying, yeah, you're barking up the wrong tree here.
And that's why the KGB flipped over his tractor. Breaking news, CMS style.
Yeah, really.
KGB killed Jim Trafficant.
Right. So anyway, if you want to watch a really good and well done documentary,
right,
you can make up your own mind. It's on Netflix. It's called The Devil Next Door.
Yes.
And this all happened in Cleveland, during the time Chris and I were just young lads.
That's right.
And it kind of struck a chord with both he and I to watch this because there is a lot of local Cleveland footage.
Yeah.
On the video and stuff. It's like, yeah, I know where that is.
Yeah. I know right where that is. I pass that place all the time.
Sure. But I think they did a good job with and I reiterate something that we were talking about earlier. Again, with the footage.
Right.
It's amazing the amount of video that they had.
Mm-hmm.
Just video after video. It's just like, where does this stuff get warehoused? And how do people find it?
Well, maybe we should reach out to whoever made this documentary and have them on.
Yeah, I'd like to know because, man, that had to take, I don't know how long it took, but boy, just looking at the amount of local footage that they had and, some of the stuff that you'd never seen before, it's just like, who was always rolling a camera?
Yeah.
I mean, even the video or the footage of him in his local church, in the services and stuff. Who was it? Who was up there filming the services?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
and who was filming the secret footage of him? Like they showed the one set of footage where they brought him out in a bed with his mouth wide open like he was dead.
Yeah.
And then 10 seconds later, they showed him jumping out of the car and jumping in the car. Another reason why I think he was guilty, because he was a fucking phony.
Yeah. It's wild. Really wild. But, yeah, check it out if you have an interest in those kind of things.
Sure.
Well, moving along, since we're talking about local stuff.
Okay.
Way back in the summer, during the show, I had donated some money to the local radio station where the classic metal show started, so many years ago, way back in 1996.
That's right.
The WSTB in Streetsboro, Ohio.
That's right.
And we made the decision here on air that we would like the promotion for the CMS to air during the month of October.
That's right.
And they ran a promo for us twice a day, one in the morning and one in the evening. And while I was in town a couple of weeks ago, I was trying to catch it.
Right.
But you know, you don't know exactly where they're going to slot it in, because it could have run anywhere between like 5 in the morning and 8 in the morning, or between 3 in the afternoon and 6 in the evening, you know. So I was trying to figure out when to listen, and I never got to point to where I actually heard it, but I did. There are some outlets out there that show what they play at what time.
Okay.
And it definitely aired.
Well, good.
You know, on a daily basis. So I did track that, but I never got to actually hear it.
Right.
Myself. So the station manager, our good friend Bob Long, sent me over the promo that they ran on our behalf.
Okay, good.
And it was something that Bob actually took the time to do himself personally.
Oh, yeah? He didn't have the kids do it?
He didn't have the kids do it. He did it personally.
I love it.
And it's only like 23 seconds long. It's very short.
All right.
No production, nothing. I thought maybe they'd throw some like hard rock or heavy metal bed in there or something. But it's just a very dry read.
All right, well, let's hear.
But, hey, we got our name out there and we got our website out there. I don't know if it gained us any attention, but I still think it's funny.
Right.
It's well worth the $200 spent just for the funny.
That's good.
So here we are. This is former WSTB, where the Classic Metal Show started, with the station manager Bob Long doing a promo for the Classic Metal Show, which ran twice a day.
All right.
Here we go.
Support for the alternation is provided by The Classic Metal Show, a long-running shock jock and heavy metal radio show. The show has been airing since 1996 and features radio hosts Neeley and Chris Aiken. The show is streamed live and uncensored on Saturday nights from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. at The Classic Metal Show, no spaces, theclassicmetalshow.com.
And for the alternation,
I'm Bob Long.
I'm Bob Long.
How about that?
Dude, now you need to send that to Wheezy and just see what Wheezy can come up with.
All right, I'll email that to him so he could have the actual audio.
And by Wheezy, I mean the actual guy Wheezy.
Yes.
Not Bob, who's sounding kind of wheezy there.
Right.
Bob sounds terrible. What happened?
He's old.
Yeah.
Dude, you've been out of high school for 30 plus years.
That is true.
He was
And
a station manager then.
And he was old then.
Yeah. And this show's been going for 24 years, and he was the station manager then.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Jesus, how old is Bob? He's got to be 100.
Yeah, he's got to be close to 70, wouldn't you think?
Got to be more than 70.
I have no idea.
He had to be 50 when I was in school. I'm serious. He was already bald. He was already a balding man at when I was in high school, and I was on STB in 85 and 86.
Well, I can't imagine him being older than 70. I would think he'd be retired by now.
He loves it. Bob loves it. He can't be the main teacher still. No way.
I couldn't even tell you.
They got to just rename it Long FM or something. It's Bob Long FM.
So you want to hear it one more time?
I do. Bob just sounded all wheezy.
Right.
Classic Metal Show's been running for 35
It's
years.
the long-running Shock Jock Show.
Shock Jock Show. These guys started here. We're sorry about that.
Yeah, Chris started here, and then Neeley was here, and they fucked everything up.
Just like to tell you, the first DJ ever suspended on WSTV, this guy, Chris Aiken.
Isn't that weird that you started there and I started my show there, and we didn't even know each other decades apart?
No, it's crazy.
That's weird.
How funny is it, though, that I'm saying as a joke, but it's the truth. I was the first DJ ever suspended at WSTV. I got kicked off the air for forging a logbook.
Well, I was the first one who ever did a live remote from a live show.
And I'm trying to think, what else did? Let's do our firsts. I was the first one to get a national artist on there.
Yeah.
I got Jack Blades from Night Ranger.
And I was the first one to do a 6-hour show.
Well, I was the... No. I don't have any more.
And I had the highest rated show of the week.
Wow, look at you.
Yeah.
Well, I had my own intro. It's the Chris Aiken Experience.
Right.
With your host, Chris Aiken. And I wish I could find it. My mom, I actually asked my mom, I had lunch with her this week, and I asked her to go through and look and find me some old WSTV tapes, because I got to find that intro, because I cut it myself. It's terrible. It's literally me talking over a record, like the record's playing and you can hear it popping, talking over it.
Sure.
And everything is Chris Aiken. You're listening to the Chris Aiken Experience with your host, Chris Aiken.
Yeah, it's all about me, pal.
And now, here's Chris Aiken on the Chris Aiken Experience.
Right.
It's so bad.
Of course.
But yeah, we got to find that. So funny.
All right. Well, we'll play this one more time, and then we'll take a short break, and we'll wrap up the show.
All right.
All right, here's WSTB once again.
Support for the alternation is provided by the Classic Metal Show, a long-running shock jock and heavy metal radio show. The show has been airing since 1996 and features radio hosts Neeley and Chris Aiken. The show is streamed live and uncensored on Saturday nights from 9 p.m. to 3 a.m. at the Classic Metal Show, no spaces, theclassicmetalshow.com.
And I'm Bob Long.
And I'm just about dead.
So that was our big debut, or our big promo for the month of October.
I love it. That should be the start of every fucking show. That at the start of every podcast. At the beginning of it, do that this week. I hate to give you more work to do, but can you plug that in at the beginning of each episode this week?
I suppose I could.
So that just this 1 week.
Yeah.
So that every time people are going to be like, what in the fuck is this? Especially people because this will be like not till Thursday. So Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, those people won't know what the fuck we're doing.
Yeah.
They'll think we have a sponsor.
No, we were the sponsor.
Yeah, we were the sponsor. We're sponsoring our own show. Too good.
I love it.
That's funny.
I just thought that was funny that we would have a spot on our old radio station.
Well, that's funny. And we did some good radio there too. I will say that. You and I did some funny fucking radio there.
And it was so off the cuff.
It was, and somehow we were able to not swear and still do. I mean, I think we broke the rules a few times, but that you saying I'm gonna rip a chainsaw off your ass, some shit like that. I know that was like.
I think I said something about firing up a chainsaw and rip you a new asshole.
Rip you a new asshole or something. I was like, whoa! It's on the fucking. I hope Bob don't get a tape of that.
Rip you a new asshole.
Too good.
That was funny. All right, well, let's play a tune or two. Let's get out. We'll be back. We'll do our final hour of the show. So I'm going to play some Babylon AD from their self-titled release.
Okay.
And if you're listening to this show, you know how the hammer swings down.
Yeah, pal.
It's Babylon AD exclusively here
on your classic metal show.